Hello everyone, this is Mundandagavan. This video we are going to see modifiers at variable level. In previous videos we have seen modifiers at the class level and method level. This video we are going to discuss at method level. Coming back to access modifiers, public, protected, default, private, all four will be applicable at the variable level. Whereas non-access modifier, static, final, volatile, transient will be applicable at the variable level. We are going to discuss mostly on the static and final in case of non-access modifiers. Before starting, we will understand the structure of these three classes in order to just to demonstrate the different access modifiers or non-access modifiers at the variable level. The parent class will be having four different fields at the four different levels: public, private, protected, and default. The naming convention also will be following the same thing. Even the value will be following the same thing. And final, static, final. So all three will be there. Actually, we can use any final or we can use the static. And next one, child class. In order to demonstrate outside the package some kind of access level, we are going to have the child class, but it will be outside the package and it will be extending the parent. And driver within the package will be having the main definitions or main demonstration about the access level at the variable level. So from the parent level or from the parent class, you can see the different fields. We are going to just access those based on the access modifiers or non-access modifiers. The first one, parent object we are creating for the parent class. Obviously, the naming also will be in the same way. And you will be accessing the parent public field. So it is inside the package. Just to see that, you can see it here. Package 1 will be having the driver and the parent. And package 2 will be having the child class. Since you are seeing the driver file or let's say the actual line of code, it will be in the same package 1. So you can access even inside the package, outside the package in case of it is the public field. So we are just checking public field inside the package. It can be accessible, no issues in that. Then public field outside the package. So for that, we are going outside the package in the child class. Here you can see public field outside the package. We are creating the reference for the, let's say, child object, which will be extending the parent. And we are just trying to access the parent public field. Okay, the next one, we will go back to the driver and we will be seeing the private field. So the private field will be accessed only inside the class. So that means that if you try to access outside the class, you will be getting the error. Here you can see. So you need to change it at the default or protector or let's say any other access level rather than private in order to access in the other classes. So let's say we will be going to the same parent class. We'll be trying to access this one, private field allowed only inside the class. So since we are the parent class, we should be able to access the parent class private variables. Now coming back to the next one, default outside the package. So if we go outside the package, so here we will be there. So here you can see default. So you know the default field will be at the package level. So whatever may be the case, if it is outside the package, you cannot access. Whether it can be using the parent class reference or child class reference or outside the child class reference, whatever may be the case, if it is outside the package, you cannot access. So that's the reason we are trying to access both with parent class reference or the child class reference. In both the cases, we are not allowed to do that. Here you can see the error and you can see the possible suggestion. Just make it protected so that you can access with the parent class or the different level. So in simple, default means only inside the package. Outside the package, by any means, you cannot access that. So coming back to the protected field. So protected field in the sense, it will be accessible inside the package, outside the package only with the child class reference. So here you can see the protected field inside the package. So no issues, we can access that one. Whereas outside the package for the protected field with subclass. So that means that only with subclass outside the package, you can access. Here you can go there. And here you can see the protected field and you can see child object, which will be extending the parent object. So it qualifies two scenarios. It is outside the package. It is extending the parent class. So in that scenario, our child object is eligible to access the protected field from the parent class, which is from other package. So there is no issues here at the compile time when you save it. So that means that we are good. Then coming back to here. Here we have seen the protected field. Okay, now static field. So static field, as we discussed in the previous video, static means it is attached to the class level, even at the variable level as well. That means that when you create the static variable, that means that it is attached at the class level. It will be having only one copy at the class level. However, you can just access the static field by using the class name, or you can even use the instance, which is not actually convention. Here you can see I have the parent.city. That means that the parent is the class name and .city will be your static variable or static field. If you go to the parent, so it will be the static city and it is New York. So initially you will be getting the output as New York. Then after you are just accessing with the any one of the, let's say the parent object. So in this case, we are just accessing with the parent object. .city, we are just changing it. However, it is not a convention actually, but still we can access with the instances also for the static variables. In case if you access something like that, or if you are changing something like that, it will be affecting for other instances as well. For example, once you edit with your, let's say the parent object, if you try to access with the class.city, it will be having the recent changed one, which means that London. And let's say you have some other object, still you might be having the different objects for the same class. You can access that city variable, which is static, by any means. That means that any means in this, any instance of the same class you can access. But it will be editing or it will be working on a single copy. So that's the reason once you edit with some other object, the city variable, even if you try to print parent.city after that, you will be getting the very recently changed one, which is nothing but Chennai. Even you can access or you can modify with the class name itself. Class name dot city, you can change it to something. After that, whatever maybe the instance you are trying to access, or let's say with just having a different instances you are trying to access the city variable, you will be having the very recent one. In simple, you will be having a one single point. You can access the static variable by using the any instance or by using the class name. The main point here is like you will be having one copy shared across all the instances, and you can use with the class name as well. Even without instances also you can access. Okay, next one, final. So let's go back to the parent class. Here we have the final. So final public string. But however, when you mention the final, it means that it is almost like a constant. Constants in the sense you cannot change it once you define it. So that means that you cannot change it in the sense at the time of declaring itself, you need to initialize the value. Let's say if I don't initialize the value, then you will be getting the error like initialize the final field country at declaration. So that means that it is must that you need to just in the declaration time itself, you need to initialize the value for the final variable. By naming convention, if it is the final variable, we will be using all caps. So for example, here we are having the final variable country. Since it's the final, we are giving the value as USA. The another point is once it's a final, the naming itself, it's a final, right? So you cannot change it in the later stage. For example, let's say here you are trying to print it parent object dot country. It's totally fine because you will be seeing at the parent, it is at the, it's not having the keyword called static. So that means that at instance level. So with instance only, you can access the country constant or final object. So here you can see parent object dot country, which is the final field. Okay, fine. Trying to modify that one, just parent object dot country, it will be telling that you cannot initialize or you cannot, not initialize, you cannot change the value. So in order to change the value, you need to remove the final modifier. Otherwise, you cannot change it. This will be the suggestion from the Eclipse side. So which means that final fields needs the initialization at the starting declaration time itself. And once you declare and initialize in this one stage, after that, you cannot change the value in the later stage. So by this, we have seen the public, protected, default, private. So this will be the same kind of method level, but it will be applicable at the variable level as well. Whereas static, it will be at the variable level. In case of variable level, this can be shared with all the instances. Anyone can just change the value, but it will be only one copy. A final variable will be acting like a, in case of variable, the final variable will be acting like a constant. So in the declaring time itself, you need to initialize and you cannot change the value in the later stage. Now coming to volatile and transient, since we have not seen the multi-threading or let's say the object serialization, we will be seeing in the later stage. But in simple, volatile means The multiple thread can be working on that variable so that you cannot expect a constant value, or let's say very non-volatile value. It will be always volatile. Oh, the volatile in the sense non-steady, or you cannot expect the same behavior or same value. Transient, it will be at the serialization level. So that means that if you are having some variable called transient, so that means that it will not persist inside your object serialization. As we discussed, we have not seen the object serialization and the multi-threading. Just we are having the theory part here about that volatile and transient. In later stage, once we understood the multi-threading, or let's say serialization, we will go through again one more time. So this is all about the access modifiers and non-access modifiers at the variable level. So thanks for watching and have a great day.